I bought this land to escape the HOA. No rules, no dues, no neighbors with clipboards. But one morning I woke up to find my water cut off my mailbox, stuffed with violation notices, and a woman in pearls telling me I now owed her organization thousands of dollars, or I'd lose my own property. When I first saw the orchard, it looked like a postcard that had been left out in the rain, faded, torn, but still trying to remember what beauty felt like. I'd spent 20 years as an engineer building things for other people. I was done with concrete and meetings. I wanted soil. So I bought this forgotten piece of land half an hour outside town. No HOA, no neighbors, just me, my dog, and a sky wide enough to breathe again. The first week was paradise. I fixed the barn roof, patched the fences, planted new apple saplings, and hung solar lights on the porch. Every swing of the hammer felt like reclaiming a little piece of myself. But then one evening I found a letter tucked under my windshield wiper. It was printed official-looking, full of words like compliance and review. At the bottom, Maple Ridge Homeowners Association. I laughed out loud. "There's no HOA out here," I said to no one. But that laugh died quick. A few days later I stopped by Dawson's Hardware in town. The clerk, Ruth, had been around longer than most of the houses in Maple Ridge. When I told her where I'd bought my land, her face tightened. "That old orchard," she said. "That's the one they tried to claim as a community park years ago. The county shut them down, but their board called it unfinished business." That night her words echoed in my head, unfinished business. I registered my land under a state reclamation program just to make everything official. I even framed the certificate on my barn wall. Legal independence, my small rebellion against the world of bureaucracy. But the next week, I heard tires crunching on the gravel drive. I looked up from the irrigation line I was fixing, and there it was, a white Tesla sunlight bouncing off it like a blade. A woman stepped out, heels sinking into the mud, hair perfect, smile tighter than barbed wire. "Good morning," she said. "I'm Clara Pembroke, chairwoman of the Maple Ridge HOA." I wiped my hands on my jeans. "You're a little far from home," I said. She smiled, the kind of smile people wear when they already think they own you. "We've noticed increased activity on this parcel. Repairs, equipment, construction. As of January 1st, Maple Ridge's jurisdictional boundary was expanded. Your orchard now falls within our environmental maintenance district. We'll need your compliance forms and dues by month's end." I stared at her, stunned. "Ma'am, this isn't Maple Ridge. It's county land, always has been." "That's a common misunderstanding," she said smoothly. "Boundaries shift, communities grow. It's better to cooperate early than get caught in a technicality later." "Is that a threat?" "Just friendly advice." She slid a glossy pamphlet onto my truck hood. Its gold letters shimmered. "Harmony through standards." When her Tesla disappeared over the ridge, I looked down at that slogan. Harmony through standards. It smelled like perfume and control. That night a drone appeared over my orchard, small, buzzing, blinking red and blue. It hovered, tilted toward me, then zipped back toward Maple Ridge. My dog barked until his voice cracked. Over the next few days the mail came. Not bills, warnings. Anonymous violation notices. Unapproved structures. Non-compliant landscaping. No signatures, no return address. I laughed the first time. Then came the phone call to the county. "Your utilities have been suspended pending jurisdiction review." That's when it stopped being funny. I drove straight to the county office, slammed my folder on the counter, and said, "Show me the boundary map." The clerk scrolled through his computer and frowned. "There's a pending adjustment," he said. "Filed 3 weeks ago. By Maple Ridge HOA." They were redrawing the map on paper so they could own me. I left shaking, half from anger, half from disbelief. Back at the orchard, I laid all my documents on the table. The deed, the reclamation certificate, the coordinates. I traced every line like a wound. They wanted a paper war fine. I knew that language better than they did. Then came the next escalation. One morning I found 3 men digging a trench near my irrigation ditch. Maintenance crew, they said. Maple Ridge Green Initiative. Their truck had the HOA logo printed right on it. I asked, "You realize you're 10 feet inside my property?" They shrugged. "We just go where we're told." I took photos, truck plates, blueprints, the trench, and called the sheriff. When he arrived, I showed him the evidence. "Look," he said carefully, "maybe just let this cool off. They've got friends on the county board." "Cool off," I snapped. "They're cutting into my land." He tipped his hat. "Ethan, sometimes keeping the peace is easier than being right." I watched him drive away in a cloud of dust, and for the first time since I'd bought this place, the orchard didn't feel like freedom. It felt like siege. That night I sat at the kitchen table, the lamp flickering over stacks of documents. My hands shook. Maybe the sheriff was right. Maybe I should just move on, find peace somewhere else. Who was I kidding, fighting a whole neighborhood with lawyers and money? I almost believed that. Almost. Then I remembered Ruth's warning, unfinished business. I thought of the drone, the pamphlets, the trench. No, I wasn't leaving. I called Amira Train, an old colleague who'd become a property rights attorney. When she answered, her voice was half laughter, half steel. "Still rescuing lost causes, Ethan." "Something like that," I said. "Except this one's personal. They're redrawing maps, faking boundaries, and now they're trespassing." "Send me everything," she said. "They're doing quiet annexation. We'll burn them with paper." Amira dug through this county's archives and called me 2 days later. "You were right," she said. "They filed a floodplain correction, but it's forged. Fake hydrologist signature, no state approval. They're claiming your land as part of their water runoff system. Fraud. Textbook." That night, under the rain pounding the barn roof, I signed the cease and desist letter she'd drafted. She filed it with the county, the state, and the HOA board all at once. And just like that, the first shot of our paper war was fired. But the other side wasn't done. At 2 a.m. one night, I woke up choking on smoke. Orange light flashed against the window. The orchard was burning, rows of young saplings swallowed by fire. By the time the volunteer brigade arrived, half the lower field was gone. The fire chief called it an electrical malfunction, but there was no wiring near the origin. I found tire tracks in the mud, deep and heavy, leading straight toward the road to Maple Ridge. I photographed everything, bagged a melted piece of plastic, called Amira. "They tried to burn me out," I said, my voice raw. "Then we hit them harder," she replied. "This isn't civil anymore. It's criminal intimidation." The next day, she filed subpoenas for every HOA budget and expansion permit from the past decade. That same week, a woman named Helen Keller, former HOA accountant, called me in a whisper. "They've been stealing," she said. "Tens of thousands from state environmental grants, dummy vendors, fake invoices. I can prove it." Her evidence blew the case wide open. News stations ran with it. Homeowner fights. HOA annexation scam. Clara went on TV painting herself as the victim. "Mr. Miles violated environmental codes. He's the problem," she said in her rehearsed voice. I almost laughed. They'd burned my orchard and now they were accusing me of pollution. But Amira wasn't done. She showed up at my property the next morning with a new plan. "We're filing to make this land federally protected," she said. "Once it's under environmental jurisdiction, no HOA or county can touch it." We spent the day measuring, mapping, documenting every tree, every stream. By sunset, the forms were ready. Within 48 hours, I received confirmation. Temporary federal environmental protection, Miles Orchard Restoration Zone. I printed the letter, laminated it, and nailed copies to every fence post. The next morning, an HOA SUV pulled up 2 board members taking photos of the signs. I waved. "Send those to Clara," I called. "She'll want to frame them." Then came the final battle court. The courthouse smelled like dust and old wood. Clara sat across the aisle dressed like virtue itself. Beige suit, pearls, fake calm. Her lawyer looked like he billed by the minute and slept on silk. When the judge asked for opening statements, Amira stood. Her tone was steady, lethal. "Your Honor, this isn't a boundary dispute. This is organized fraud." She laid down Exhibit A, the fake flood map. Exhibit B, financial records, showing $73,400 redirected into Clara's husband's company. Exhibit C, GPS data proving my land was never within Maple Ridge jurisdiction. Then Helen Keller took the stand. Her voice trembled at first, then steadied. The board used state funds to dig unauthorized trenches on Mr. Miles's land. When I questioned it, Chairwoman Pembroke told me to file it under community improvement. When I refused, I was fired. The courtroom went silent. Screens filled with emails, Clara's emails, her signature, Her words, her orders. Her lawyer tried to spin it. They acted under county direction. Amira flipped to Exhibit D. The approving officer for those zoning changes, she said, is Thomas Pembroke, Clara's brother-in-law. The judge looked up sharply. Is that true? Clara's jaw clenched. He volunteers with the planning board. Amira read aloud. Once you push the map edit, I'll handle the paperwork. HOA lines will follow naturally. Signed, Clara. The judge's pen tapped twice. The sound echoed like a gavel. Mrs. Pembroke, she said, arrogance is not authority. Clara snapped. This is a witch hunt. That man destroyed everything we built. The judge's gavel came down hard. Enough. The evidence is overwhelming. Maple Ridge HOA is hereby suspended pending full fraud investigation. The plaintiff's land remains under independent jurisdiction. All altered records are void. Silence. Then relief. Real heavy, quiet relief. The HOA crumbled. Clara was charged with falsification and embezzlement. Her brother-in-law resigned. The story hit every paper. The orchard that beat the HOA. The orchard. But I didn't feel victorious, just tired. I walked my orchard that night. The burned rows were sprouting again, green pushing through black soil. The wind moved through the trees like forgiveness. Clara built fences, I built roots. And that's the thing about control. It only lasts until someone remembers what the truth looks like on paper. Lesson learned. Freedom isn't something you're given. It's something you fight to keep, one signature, one boundary, one breath at a time.